Hope International Missions exists to make disciples. Not just disciples, but to make disciple makers. Those who will go out and continue the process over and over and over again. Since the early 90s, Hope International Missions has had missionaries stationed within Eastern Europe and in Russia. And the purpose of that was to help bring hope and healing to the people who for such a long period of time had been battered and held under oppression by the communist regime. We have missionaries in 3 countries specifically: Russia, Hungary, and Romania. Our goal is not to just stay there, but as God continues to lay it on people's hearts, we want to see a great church planting movement, disciple-making movement that will spread throughout Eastern Europe. There are so many other countries that are hurting and hungry and open for the gospel, and we want to do our part to step in to that void and to share with them the love that Jesus has for them. Today, we want to take you with us on a journey to see how God is helping us to touch people's lives in these countries. Open your hearts and allow God to speak to you as you see what He is doing in Eastern Europe and Russia.
It's been exciting to me as we came to Budapest. I was actually assigned to come here to Budapest, and we didn't know anybody here at all, and so I had Googled missionaries in Budapest, knew that there was a Christian library behind me here. I'd seen a picture of it, and so we came here. I came to Budapest the first time not really knowing my way around the city. I arrived here at this hotel and got out of the van and started looking around like, okay, how does this fit the picture that I had seen? And the guy asked me, where are you staying? And I said, I think I'm staying there in that building. And he saw on my brochure that there was a phone number there. We called, and thankfully I ended up there at the hotel for that night. And the other thing that's been exciting about this area is a few weeks later, Sydney Grant came, and we were taking some pictures and just walking around here enjoying the scenery, and we looked up on the hill here and took a shot, and as he did, the sun was shining on that cross, and we got like a glow around the base of that cross, and we realized that the cross was overlooking the city of Budapest, and our goal from that time has been to bring hope and healing to the people of Budapest. I would like to take you to the oldest field in our region, Russia, the country that for years was under the iron fist of communism. Richard and Judy Grout have been laboring in Vyborg, Russia for over 20 years, effectively ministering there to spread the gospel. Over the years, Richard and Judy Grout have mentored several young men and women. I'm very impressed with what they have been doing there. As I have visited, I've seen firsthand what God has been doing through them, and it's exciting to see all that has happened over these last 20 years. There are various facets of ministry in Vyborg, Russia. Bible distribution, literature distribution, hospital ministry, and ministry to the homeless, humanitarian ministries. And all of those have been effectively reaching lives. Homeless women are fed regularly there in the center, as well as there are 2 or 3 church services. During the week, there have been at least 4 churches started out of the Vyborg Center. Those are now in other buildings, their own buildings, and are very self-supporting and are effectively going on with full-time pastors. For many years, Bibles and religious literature were banned under communism, and as soon as things opened up in the early 1990s, HIM started going to Russia, and eventually Richard and Judy Grout came there to begin ministering. In those first few years especially, many Bibles were distributed out of the center. Over 500,000 Bibles have been distributed from that center since in the 20+ years that they have been in ministry there, and that continues to go on. When I was in Russia recently, I was impressed with the legacy that is being built there in Russia. I met 2 young women that are recent converts through the ministry center there and the rehab center, and are now very much involved in what is in the ministry center and the sending out correspondence and so on. And just 2 fine young women that are really excited about following Christ and are passionate about following Christ. And this is what has been happening over the years through the center. This is just one example of many that have come through the center, have been discipled, and are now out making disciples. That is what has made this center so effective over the 20+ years that it has been there. Over the last 2 years, we've been in the process of changing leadership in the center, turning it over to national leaders. Richard has been, really over 20 years, has been mentoring one young man, Valeria especially, to become the director, and that has happened. And as I sat in the board meeting, I was impressed with the 7 or 8 young men that have been mentored through the center and now are effectively leading there. And so now we have turned the center over to national leadership. This is one of our main goals, is to train nationals to lead ministry to their own people. And I'm confident that as they continue to work there, the national leaders continue to work there, that it'll become an even more effective center than it has been. It's been of course, very effective, but I'm confident it'll become even more effective. Now the center is completely under national leadership, and the last time that I was there, I was impressed with the quality of leaders that Richard has raised up and has been mentoring. Here we are at the Hope Christian Fellowship Center in Taupuș, Romania. Sally has been here since 2002 working, and when I joined HIM in 2010, I came down to meet Sally, and I've been continually impressed with her work ethic and her passion for reaching this village. She came here, she began working in the orphanage and then building the center, and her whole vision is around impacting the youth of this village. And as we were walking with her recently, I thought, here we are with another 4, 5, 6 children that are being impacted again by Sally, a person who has such a strong desire to touch her world and to mold lives, to effectively touch the world. And in my opinion, there is no better missionary out there than Sally, with her desires and her passion and her vision and her focus on touching the world.
When I first came to Romania, my primary focus was on the orphans at the House of Hope, but I realized, or we saw the need for something for the young people and the children in the village. In the village, we had a disco, we have at least 4 bars in the village, and so we wanted to offer a place for young people and children to have wholesome, fun activities. And so then God put it on our heart to build the Hope Christian Fellowship Center. Let me show you the Hope Christian Fellowship Center. We began construction in 2006. We finished construction in 2008. We are able to have a large room downstairs where we have most of our activities. As you can see, we have sports activities, we have volleyball, we play foursquare, we have basketball, but here we also have Bible studies, we have the gatherings with the children and the young people, and this is our main room that we use on a daily basis. Also, when the House of Hope children come and hang out at my house, I live upstairs, and so this is a big room that we spend a lot of time in playing and having activities, and also when we have a lot of visitors and teams, this is also a place where they have times and activities together with the children from the House of Hope.
As you can see, God is indeed working in Eastern Europe and Russia. I don't believe Ed and Heather ever expected to be exactly where they are today there in Budapest. But they listened carefully to God's call, and God led them there. As a result, hundreds of people are being touched just from their influence. Sometimes it's hard for us to know what God is asking us to do. But as we just keep our hearts and lives open to Him, God will faithfully lead and guide each one of our steps and help us to know exactly what His will is for our lives. So next time, you're going to get a chance to see some of the daily and weekly activities that Ed and Heather Durham are participating in while they're there in Budapest. You'll get a chance to see how God is impacting them and using them to impact others, how disciples are being made and lives are being transformed. In the meantime, keep your heart open and allow God to speak to you about how He wants you to be involved in a personal way in the cause of missions.